In this video, I'm going to walk you through our new reports. Prior to version 2.6, our reports were using Solr queries, and we wanted to update this and use SQL queries instead. So this allows us to now group by date and date time fields in Primero. This applies to all modules of Primero, including the CPIMS+, the GBVIMS+, and the MRMIMS+. On my screen, you're currently looking at a follow-up report where on the top of the screen, you're able to see the graph, and the bottom of the screen, you're able to see the table. Right now, we're grouping by the type of follow-up as well as the date. And you can kind of see there's not a lot of information that's making this more informative. So I'm going to show you how we're going to be able to manipulate this report to make this more accurate for what you're looking for. What you'll do is select the edit icon in the top right-hand corner of the screen. And one thing you can do now is be able to aggregate based on your date. So this includes the day, the week, the month, or the year. So if I change this to week and I click on save, now when you look at this graph, you're going to see each of the columns are now grouped by the particular week that this follow-up was conducted. If I continue to click on edit and update this by month, for example, and click save, I'll now be able to see all of the follow-ups that happened in May. One thing that will be more useful maybe is I don't want to see any empty rows. So this will eliminate any information that has 0 in it and only show the information that has been entered into the system. So if I now click save, I can now see that there are 3 cases, there are 3 follow-ups that have been conducted, and you can see that they're now broken down by the type of service here. I can go a step further and add multiple variables now in the group by row and group by column. So if I, for example, want to also include the age of the child, I can do that and hit save. When I hit save, it now breaks it down by the number that are 11 years old and 8 years old. But that also may not be useful for me, and this also looks a little bit awkward. So what I can do is go ahead and click edit again and use age ranges. And these age ranges now breaks down your ages based on the filters that you have. And so now we can see for age 6 to 11, you can see the follow-ups there. I'm also now just going to update it so you can change and see this by week. And now you can see by week the number of follow-ups that have happened for those particular age ranges. The great thing about SQL is you're now able to also add in additional types of variables here in the group by row or the group by column. And I'm going to type in the status of the case, and I can, as you could see, as I started to type in information, then different types of information became available to me. So I can, for example, remove case status, and I want to show you the current location of the child also in this type of follow-up report. So in this case, I'm going to say province, and I'm going to hit save. And now, because I have the Ukraine locations in this website that I'm using to demo, you're going to be able to see the different cities that these follow-ups are happening in, and they're a little bit more useful now that you can see that they're broken down and highlighted. If I go ahead and click edit again, I can scroll all the way down to the bottom of my screen, and there are different filters that have already been applied. So you can remove these filters that always appear by default. So if I want to see both open and closed cases, then I'm going to remove my case status as open, and that will ensure that I will see all closed cases as well. The filter for valid record means that if the case has never been disabled, then it'll appear. But any disabled cases will also appear if this filter is there. We always have that consent needs to be provided to have this information shared in this report. You can also remove this consent filter. And then we also have a filter here that if anybody has not filled out the date of follow-up field, then it's not included. But I can also always remove that, so those are counted in here as well. Then once I hit update, the information will be updated accordingly. I just have a very small data set in this testing environment, but you can go ahead and play around now with your new reports. We've improved their performance and we've optimized the speed, so this should be a lot better than you saw before with the Solr queries. We've also made enhancements to the exports as well, so you should also see improvements on your side. Please feel free to reach out at any time if you have any feedback. Would love to hear what you think of the new reports and how you're able to slice and dice the data. The other thing I just wanted to also flag to you is there were questions that people have asked me about other fields that they can include. So in this case, I was talking about just the follow-up section within the CPIMS Plus module. This only brings up the fields that are within the follow-up form, this follow-up subform, and we've also included some minimum reportable fields on the case. So these may not necessarily be on the follow-up subform, but you are able to include things like age, sex, date of registration, risk level, their case status, the location at different levels of the current location of the child, as well as the caseworker's code, where the caseworker is located, as well as their agency, and as well as their status. And one of the other new functionalities is now you can make a report based on the user groups of that record owner as well. So this is something that I hope will be more helpful for you as you're doing any sort of manipulation and trying to use the reports to support your programming.